Time to get underway with our first heat for senior road tax. It's Heat 1, Groups A versus B. Here is your starting grid. So Jaden Teen will start on pole position. Elia Papacena will be alongside on the front row. Then it's Lewis Gilbert and Maxence Bouvier that will be on row number 2. Teresa Babichkova and Dion van Werven rounding out row 3. Luke Neeson and Montego Masson, row 4. Tommy van der Sloys, Nolan Lemeray rounding at the top 10. Mitch Haynert and Petra Babichkova, row 6. Jamie Pirilli and Vic Stevens, row 7. Lachlan Robinson and Sverre Ubben, row number 8. Days Dams and Lawrence Herboz, row 9. With Atyom Sestikovs on row number 10 alongside Andrei Petrovic. Stein Scholten and Sim van Vliet. Scott Westhofers and Sam Bergstein. Tonis Johannes Domingas, Enzo van den Nickenberg, Gussie van Gogh, Ralph van der Pevet, Chloe Canal, Matthias Kroon, Eva Anagostiadis, Park Doubles, Benoit Tordima, Axel Goes. Artukau may not have made it out onto the formation, citing that, and Spencer Braun rounding out the 36 strong. If I... So again, the red lights are on the starting gantry with 7 minutes plus an additional lap on the timer. So the 3:42 will start from the dummy grid after the rest of the field have been released. So a few stragglers at the rear, but the drivers are primed, set and ready for their first heat today. All drivers will compete in 3 senior Rotax heats. Now, the run towards the start-finish line gets underway. Red lights on the starting gantry. We're lights out and off and racing. Good start by Elia Papacena, who tries to put a good foot forward, with Jaden Thien trying to keep a hold of that front position on the grid. As there's a little bit of a tussle between the top 2. Looks like Lewis Gilbert got through. He did. And the team just holds on to that defensive line as they go through turn number 6. Lachlan Robinson round the outside of a couple of drivers as they make their way down the Europolan into the braking zone into turn number 7. Too wide at one point, and that included Robinson trying to get through. He ends up running a little bit wide. He might have got a little bit of a touch on the right rear. Did the 3:26 from KR Sport, but the top 3 are broken away. So leading the way at the moment, it's still Jaden Teen. Then it is Lewis Gilbert, and then Teresa Babichkova in the 3:23. Side by side, a little bit further back, there's a little bit of a skirmish, and that is for 4th place on the road. Dion van Werven has got that position. Elia Papacena looks to be under attack as Babichkova sends it up the inside of Jaden Thien, who's been passed by Lewis Gilbert in the meantime for the race lead. A little bit further back, Papacena trying to defend against Dion van Werven. Looks like they've lost a couple of positions, those ones to the ones in front of them. And there's the race lead being changed on the first half of the second lap. Babichkova takes the lead from Lewis Gilbert. Jaden Teen rounds out the top 3. Now they're making their way through into turn 8, and it was 3 wide. A little bit further back coming through turn number 7. Some drivers being a little bit too opportunistic in this early phase, because you've got to get through. If you want to get through, you've got to get through on merits, but also score good, comfortable points. Tommy van der Sloys is waiting to see if an opportunity comes his way. And in front of him is the 3:77 of Dion van Werven, who's dropped right out of the top 10. The Dutch driver now is falling down the order. He's just been passed by the 3:69 of Vic Stevens. But Babichkova is still keeping ahead of Lewis Gilbert. It's side by side a little bit further back towards the back end of the field. And someone nearly comes a cropper, and there's a bit of a touch. Gilbert sent it up the inside of Babichkova. The two make contact, and Jaden Teen gets the opportunity to get through. But still with just over 4.5 minutes of this race to go. There's every single chance that Babičkova will start to close in on them. And Babičkova actually holds the fastest lap of the race, 55.064 at this moment. So Jamie Pirelli, unfortunately, not having a good opening heat, but there's still another 2 for the Brit to come back in. Jaden Teen leads the way by 1/10 of a second ahead of Lewis Gilbert, who was looking to possibly try and get through. Didn't. Tommy van der Stoys has got a good battle with Elia Papasena, who started on the outside of the front row. That is for 7th position. Lawrence Herboz and Petra Babičkova round out the top 10 positions. 35 out of the 36 drivers are still contesting this race, unfortunately, Jamie Pirelli, and that is the 390 of Chloe Canal that has just been turned around at turn 6. And a little bit further back behind, Lawrence Herboz has just been passed. That was by Vic Stevens. Petra Babičkova is waiting in the wings, so is Days Dams in the 321. Behind them, they've got Mantiga Masen, Sverre Uben and Andrej Petrovic, the latter from Serbia. A little bit further back, there are some more changes. Tomingas might have made a few positional gains. And we have got our first full course caution of the weekend. So it is slowing to half speed. And there has been an incident on on the back straight. So driver is walking on under their own power, which is a very good sign to see. So we have a full course yellow. I repeat, full course yellow. So effectively, Jaden Teen becomes the pace cart. So we are going to go round for another full course caution lap. So for those wondering, what is the restart rule? Well, when we go green, you can start overtaking from the yellow line, I believe, on the start-finish straight. And any circumvention of said regulation will instigate a penalty being awarded to the driver that decides to circumvent said regulation. Well, basically, if they break the rules, they'll get a penalty. So this will close up the entire field, giving the opportunity to Gilbert, Babičkova, Luke Neeson, Maxence Bouvier. Now, where did Bouvier start? Outside of row number 2. Mitch Heinert started 11th. Tommy van der Stoy started 9th and is currently 7th. So when the green flag is waved, then that will give everyone the instruction to go back to full throttle. Here we go. Green flag waves. Good start. But Lewis Gilbert suddenly breaks down with he's got a technical problem with the engine. Disaster for Lewis Gilbert, but he manages to get it back on track. He had to pull immediately to the left-hand side. He knew he had a problem from the get-go, and that gave Teresa Babičkova the opportunity she needed. But Jaden Teen, as soon as he saw the green flag, bolted away into the distance. And everyone else is battling over the scraps. We've got Mitch Hainer currently sitting, I think that is he's battling away. Tommy van der Stoy has got himself up into 3rd position through turn 7. Great work by last year's junior champion in this category, and also in this championship, and also was vice champion of Europe in juniors last year. So the timer has hit 0, but Jaden Teen timed the restart to absolute perfection. And now we're going to go on to the final lap of the race. Tommy van der Stroys is in third behind Teresa Babičková. And it's Mitch Haynert. Well, it might be Maxence Bouvier. Maxence Bouvier currently in fourth. Mitch Haynert looking to get through on the French driver. Elia Papacena going towards the outside, trying to send it, goes on to the runoff area. And that is going to allow drivers to get through, which is going to happen. He's going to lose a couple of places through turns 4 and 5. And there is also another Bouvin powered kart there. Might have been Lawrence Herboz in the 398. Well, that was. As they make their way through, and Herboz, all over the shop, going through the exit of turn number 7. Then he hits the foam barriers in the process, loses positions, hand over fist, comes back onto the circuit. And they're still scrapping away, but it's going to be Jaden Thien who's going to come out of the final corner. The checker flag will wave this time. The Dutchman starts his weekend off the right way possible, taking the victory. Teresa Babičková takes second. Tommy van der Stroys takes third. Maxence Bouvier, Mitch Haynert, Luke Neeson, Elia Papacena. Mitch Haynert, Luke Neeson, Sverre Ubben, Dion van Verven, Elia Papacena and Thijs Dams round out the top 10. Lewis Gilbert would manage to keep himself within the top 15, finishing in 11th position ahead of Andrej Petrovic, Ralph van der Peyvert, Lawrence Herboz, Vic Stevens, Montego Marson, Steen Scholten, Axel Goes, Nolan Lemmerhay, Lachlan Robinson finishing in 20th position ahead of Siem van Vliet, Tonis Johannes Dominguez, Spencer Brougham finishing in 23rd from 36 on the grid. He only did 2 laps in qualifying, so great work by the 356 running on the CRG chassis. Enzo Dickenberg, Pat Gubbles, Atyoms Sestakovs in 26 ahead of Sam Bergstein, Matthias Korn, Chloe Canal, Iva Anagnostiidis. I'm going to get that one right, hopefully. Gussie van Gop, Benoit Tordema, Alto Caro, and unfortunately we lost Petra Babičková, Scott Westhovens, and on the opening lap, Jamie Perilli.